Hello and welcome traders. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing great. So in this video I'm just gonna do a little bit of market breakdown just to show you how the market played out for the week and also the thought process behind every trade that was taken. Right, this week was really amazing because we had a lot of news events coming to play, giving the market momentum. Right, so without wasting much time, let me just jump right into it just to show you what the market did. Let's get it.
Euro AUD, the setup that I posted in the group, right? So if you look at this move yesterday during the market analysis, we predicted this. Just looking to our left, we saw this support level, and then we saw this nice left shoulder head, right shoulder, and then we predicted that price would just go to the upside. Where price is sitting now, going to the 15 minutes time frame, what I saw initially was this impulsive move and price was correcting like that, right? But if you look at the breakout is very corrective. Breakout is also very corrective. With breakout, we would like to see a nice breakout and a push to the upside, just like what happened here, but it's very corrective, giving us another thing, so just going back to the daily time frame, you can see that there is this trend line here, right? Price has really respected the trend line. Whenever we get to the trend line, there is a drop. Whenever we get to the trend, that's where price is currently sitting. And also on the daily, if you look to our left, you can see price is also below a very strong support and resistance level. Here it acted as support, here resistance, and that's where we are approaching now. So there is also a possibility of price dropping at that level right here. Yeah, so here what are we gonna what is the reason for us to be looking for selling opportunities? So with this, as you can see, we have this impulse, we have this correction, and naturally we're expecting price to break above, but if it doesn't, we'll just look to our left and connect our trend lines, and if this closes below, then we can start selling. Probably we can even come here for a retest of this pattern. So yeah, this is what I'm also seeing as well. This is just an intraday setup.
So that was the Euro AUD trade, and as you can see, price got to that level, right? So what I want you to take home is you always have to always observe what price is doing at a specific level. I always say the support and resistance is just an area where we look at what price is doing there, right? So if you have a resistance and price is approaching that resistance, what you have to focus on is the price action that will play out right here, because this level could be a level where price will reverse or price will push to the upside, right? This is a level that you drew on the chart, right? It wasn't on the chart, the market didn't put this on the chart, you drew this, so you are not really expecting price to respect this level, right? Price doesn't even know that you have this drawn on your chart, right? So your main focus is the candlesticks, because no one can draw the candlesticks. What the market presents to you is the candlestick. So your main focus is to be able to identify what price is doing, right? That is why I was able to identify the structure that was playing out right here, right? So understanding market structure, I just realized that okay, this wasn't going to break to the upside based on how the candle was just playing around here, right? If you compare this structure, this was an impulsive move or pressure from the buyers, and if you look at the structure right here, this wasn't a sign that price was going to push to the upside. Whenever we have a breakout, you want a massive breakout. This will indicate strength from the buyers, just like this, right? So as you can see, price just moved in anticipated direction, and it came to hit our TP. So same thing, this wasn't a trade that I took, that's why I have this X right here, means I didn't take this, but it's the same structure, right? So let me just take this off. If you look at this, let me go back to the daily time frame, right, just to show you that you have to really focus on the candlesticks. If you look to your left, you can see this was a major level of support. Even if I take it back, this was a support, resistance, and that is where price was trading, right? So if you go back to the 4H, you can see price got to this level as resistance. Now your main focus is to identify what price is doing at this resistance. Is price gonna break through or we're gonna reverse. Nobody knows, but you have to make sure that you identify what the market is doing based on the candlesticks that is being presented, right? So if I look into this structure, you can see this was a massive impulsive move, and when we go here, let me just pull this back. We already know we are in a resistance level, right? So if you look at this, focusing on patterns, we have this impulse, you have this correction. What we can expect is a break to the upside, but if you look at this break, price didn't really break out massively. We had a break right here, we pulled back, we had a break, and price started, you know, doing its thing. This was a sign that price wasn't going to break above, right? So instead of thinking price is going to push to the upside, we have to just readjust everything, just as we did for this, and draw our trend lines, right? The trend line is also just a guide. The trend line is just a guide, right? It doesn't mean once price breaks every trend line you have to sell or buy. This is something that I also teach my students, so I'm not really gonna go into details, but right here you can see just the break below this trend line. This was a sign for selling opportunities, just like this, right? So I mean, what I just want you to take home is what price does whenever we get to a level of support or resistance, or even a trend line, right? It's an area of value. So on Tuesday, we had trades taken on Euro USD, and I'm also gonna break down these trades for you, right? But before I even do that, let me just show you how the market repeats itself. I always say market repeats itself because human beings repeat themselves, right? So let's just look at this structure right here, right? This is the daily time frame, and what I want to show you is this. Just focus right now. Look at this impulsive move. We had price just pushing to the upside, we had a correction phase like that, and then price dropped, right? This is the structure that I want to show you. An impulsive move, correction, and then price, you know, dropped, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this price action from the impulsive phase through to the correction and then the drop. This is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna put it right here. Mind you, this is the daily time frame, right? This is the daily structure. I'm gonna go down and show you the same structure right here on the 1H structure. So let's go down to the 1H structure, and I'm also gonna show you something. So let's go back. This is the 1H, right? So looking at the 1H, let's see what we have. We have this nice impulsive move. We had price just pushing to the upside like that. This is the correction phase, and then a drop, right? This is the same structure. So what I'm gonna do is I'm also gonna copy this price action to the dropping phase, right? So this is what I'm gonna do. Now let's go back to the daily time frame and then compare these two structures. So back to the daily time frame. This is the daily structure. Is the 4H, the 1H, right? So I'm just gonna enlarge it, you know, so that they're gonna be same size. Now if I put this side by side, can you really see the difference between these two structures, right? You can see the similarity between these two structures, right? So what I'm basically trying to tell you is market structure repeats itself, right? Just that it does repeat itself sometimes on the same time frame, or even on the lower time frames or higher time frames, right? The time frame is just, you know, telling us what price is doing within a specific time, right? But the structure is the same, right? So now if you look at this, we have a nice impulsive phase, we have a nice correction, and price dropped. Nice impulse, we had a nice correction, and the price dropped. But this was on the 1H, this was on the 1 day, but it's the same thing, right? So looking at this, this is the 1H time frame. I'm just going to go back to the 1H and then show you something. This is something that I discussed with my students, and we even predicted this before it even happened, right? So I'm just going to break it down for you, right? So let me just take this off. Right now, let's look at this. When we had this nice impulse and we had price just correcting, if you look to our left, this correlates with a resistance level in the past, right? We're not just gonna go there, so I'm gonna focus on this. We had this impulse, we had this correction. So now the question was, where did this price reverse? At what level did this price hit before reversing massively to the upside, right? So looking to our left, we can see price came to the previous high, right? This was the previous market structure. This was a higher high, higher low, a higher high, and and then price came back to this level. This is what price did, right? So now, understanding this structure and knowing what price did exactly at this level, we had to replicate the same thing on the daily time frame, right? So as you saw, if we come back to the daily time frame, let me just delete everything. If you come back to the daily time frame, this is where the market opened for the week, right? This is Friday, this is Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So this is where exactly the market opened. So when the market opened, understanding the structure that played out here, we had to replicate the same thing. So we knew that price was sitting at a major level of support or resistance, or an area of interest, because if you look at this, this was our impulse, it's our correction. So at what level is price gonna just push to the upside, right? So as you saw on the 1H time frame, we're just gonna look to our left and spot this level of resistance, which now acted as a support, right? So this is what we did. As you can see, price repeats itself. That is the same thing that happened on the 1H. Price shot to the upside, and that is the same thing that also played out on the 1 day, right? So we knew this was an area of value. What we just had to do was to wait for confirmation or market shift right here, or candlestick confirmation, or patterns, or whatever, any confirmation that is going to tell us the price is going to push to the upside, right? So in our head, we already established an area of value. So knowing this, I'll go down and share the trades that we took at that level, so that you will understand, right? So I always say the candlestick patterns, they are very important, but they are only important when we approach an area of value, because as you can see, candlestick patterns is everywhere. We have engulfing, doji, and everything right here on the chart. But doesn't mean price is always going to react whenever we have these candlesticks at any level. No, right? It's only valuable, or it plays out very well when we establish these patterns at an area of value. And as you can see, we already have an area of value. So when once we spot any reversal pattern or candlestick at this level, it makes it vital for us to be looking for entries. So going down on the 4H time frame, this is where the market opened. Again, I'm just gonna put this right here. So this is where the market opened. When the market opened, we had no reason for any entry, right? Because on the 4H, we had price just creating lower lows and lower highs. This is where the market opened. So we just had to wait for any structure, that will indicate, a possible move to the upside, or even a possible break to the downside, right? Because nobody knows where the market is just gonna push to. We just have to follow the market. So right here, we just allow the market to play out. This was Monday. And then on Tuesday, we had price breaking this level to the upside. So as you can see, this was a possible double bottom, right? Just after we break the neckline, we confirm this as a double bottom. And as you know, if you understand a double bottom pattern, this is a reversal pattern. Whenever we spot this pattern, it's an indication that price will go to the upside. Is the W pattern, right? So just the break of this gave us a reason to be looking for buying opportunities. So on Tuesday, let's just go down on the 1H time frame. So this was the break on the 1H, the first bottom, second bottom break of this. We started buying right here, right? So going down on the 15 minutes time frame, let's just look at this right here. Yeah, so this was it. This was our first entry, right? This was the break and retest down to the 5 minutes. So you can see how I'm just doing the top down analysis from the higher time frame to the lower time frame, right? So on the 5 minutes, this was it, right? So this is where we had our entries, and as you can see, this is just simple market structure: break and retest, impulse, correction. We just got in right here. This was the first entry, second entry, impulse, nice correction, breakout, right? So where were we buying to, right? Just looking to our left, we also identify an area of resistance right here, right? So we were just trading to this level for the day, right? So this was our area of value where we were just looking forward to buy until we get to that level. So let's go back to the lower time frame and look at the buys at that level. So this was the second buy, and as I showed you, this was the overall TP level, but I was just scaling in, So let's actually stick with our 5 minutes time frame, because that is where we were taking the entries. So back to the 5 minutes. On Tuesday, we had news coming in. This was CPI. So we were just scaling in. Let me just show you what happened during the CPI. we had, an impulse price pulled back again. This was a nice correction as well, and then we got in just at the breakout, expecting price to get to the TP level, right? So we got in, we pushed up, it came down to a drawdown, and then it moved massively to the upside, expecting price to get to this level, and this is where the CPI came through, right? So this was on Tuesday. If I put my cursor here looking to the downside, you can see 1730 on Tuesday. So let me just show you on Tuesday. This was 1730 on Tuesday, exactly right here. 1730, that is 5:30 on Tuesday. We had CPI news coming in, and that is, this is what happened during the news. So we had price moving down to our stop loss right here. This was a massive push to the stop loss right here, and then it moved again to the upside to the TP level, right? So this was kind of manipulation in the market, so those who actually bought, right, those who bought here, put their stop loss here, price will just smash your stop loss before going to your TP. And those who also sold here and put stop loss just here, price will get into profit, come back to hit your stop loss, and then move in your direction. So this was, sort of manipulation in the market, but overall you can see this was massive moves, right? So we had the first entry right here, TP, second TP, then the third, price just came down to hit, the SL. But overall, this was a massive trade that played out. I also sent a USD CHF market analysis in the Telegram group, so yeah, let's check that out.
Yeah, so with USD CHF on the daily time frame, we can clearly see price just we are bearish, right? We had a lower low, lower high, lower low, just a bearish structure, and this was the pullback. So on the 4H is gonna be an uptrend. As you can see, we had a high, low, high, and price got to this level. If you look to the left, we can see there's a trend line where price is reacting right now. And at the trend line, what can we see on the 1H? At the trend line, price created a double top pattern. This is a reversal pattern. Price broke the neckline. So currently on the 1H, this is very bearish, right? And if you go back to the 4H, you can also see the double top as well. So this is what price can do. Obviously, if you understand patterns as well, we have this, market just moving correctively to the downside. We have a correction phase and this is a breakout. So we can also expect price to go down.
So this is the USD CHF trade as well, and this is not a trade I took. As you can see, I have the X right here. So going down to the 1H, this is when the news came through, right? The news didn't drop as we were expecting, it actually pulled back. But if this was a trade that I took, obviously this will not even hit my stop loss, because I will enter right. This is a double bottom break of the neckline, a retest, and after getting the retest, we have an engulfing candle. So I'm just gonna get in right here, and where will my stop loss be? Obviously not here, right? It's gonna be above the structure, right? So this is what you also want to do when setting a stop loss. When price is pushing to the downside, you always want a point where price will just, reverse and push to the downside. When price reverses here and start pushing to the downside and you get an entry, you just want to put it just above that structure, right? This is gonna be a good place for you to put your stop loss, right? So obviously, if I should get in right here, this will be where I'll place my stop loss. And with this setup, we have an impulse correction. If you go on the daily time frame, this is a nice flag pattern, right? It's an impulse correction, so obviously this is where my TP is gonna be, right? So it's gonna be a solid trade. But as you can see, price didn't even push to the downside. We had the news coming in, pushing price to the upside, and then we had a correction, to the sideways, right? So this is not a trade I took, so I'm not going to waste my time on it. Let's go on Wednesday. So back to Euro USD after price, had pushed to the downside. You just had to sit back and observe, look at the market structure. So this was the move to the downside right here, this red candle, right? So looking at the structure, what can you see? You can see a confirmed double bottom, right? So this is the double bottom. It's a neckline, price is broken above. It's a possible retest. So what we want to wait for is also a confirmation. If this double bottom is going to hold, then we want a confirmation, for buying opportunities, right? So this is exactly what we had to do. So going back to the 1H time frame, this was it. We had a nice drop, price pushed to the upside. This wasn't any confirmation for us to be looking for buying opportunities. Price came back to that level, right? And as you can see, I have my trend line drawn right here. You can draw it like this, but it doesn't really matter. What I want to focus on is the market structure, and I can see this triangle, right? So I have this nice impulsive move to the upside. I have this triangle pattern. This is it. I have this move, I have this triangle pattern. Price is giving me this, and this is also a pattern that can, you know, break to the upside, right? So I was just waiting for that possible break, and this is exactly what happened. So right here you can see this big move to the upside. This was the entry, right? This was the entry, just also breaking this high. This was the entry, stop loss just below here. And also I had my confirmation at this level. If you look at this 4H candlestick, you can see the 4H candlestick also closed in with this engulfing pattern, right? So just here you can see the confirmation, and that was my entry. So getting in here, we just had to wait for price to push to the upside, but that's not what price did. Price actually pulled back, you know, but we had our stop loss right here, so we were just observing what price was gonna do. And this was on Wednesday, and we had news also coming through. So let me also go to Forex Factory to show you. This was on Wednesday and 11 right here. This was 11 p.m. in my time zone. We had FOMC coming through, right? So looking at the news, I just had to wait and see what is going to happen. Is the news going to be positive? Is it going to be negative? Is the price going to push to the upside? Are we going to drop to the downside, right? So I had to just sit back and do my analysis as well, right? I've already taught you guys how to trade the news just by focusing on the technical analysis. The news is only going to give the market momentum to push to the direction that it has to do, right? So you don't want to gamble, you don't want to place buy, you don't want to place sell and wait for the market to push in one direction. That is gambling, right? You want confirmations, right? So looking at this, I had my confirmations right here. So I went on the daily time frame, right? Let's go back to the daily time frame right here. So on the daily time frame, what can you see? Understanding this thing that I just taught you, I knew that price was at an area of value, right? And at an area of value, this is what we looked at, right? At this area of value, when the news came through at this level, what happened? Price shot to the upside. This was news. If you can go back and see, we had news just pushing price to the upside. So right here, I was also expecting the same thing, right? For a push to the upside. So this was my first reason. Second reason was on the daily time frame, looking at the candlestick formations, right? So if you look at this, I also said that the candlesticks only make sense when we have an area of value. So looking at this, we had this bearish candle followed by this doji candle and also this bullish candle. This is a morning star pattern. This is a pattern that indicates that price is about to push to the upside. Once we spot a morning star on a downtrend, this is a sign that price is going to push to the upside. When we spot an evening star, the opposite, right? When we spot the evening star at the upside, this is also a sign that price is going to drop. So I had my second confirmation here right at this level, and my third confirmation is the double bottom, right? So go back to the 4H time frame. I saw this double bottom right here, break of the neckline. This was my third confirmation, right? So right here we had 3 confirmations, and when I went down on the 1H, of course I saw this symmetrical triangle as well, right, which is also a sign that price is going to push to the upside after breaking out. So I had 4 confirmations, right? You need confluences, you need confirmations before you get into a trade, right? So this is what I saw. And also adding my trend lines, you can see I had price testing right here, coming back to tap this level. When we had this breakout, we came back to test this level, and then I just saw price just, you know, trading around this level. So when the news was coming through, I'm like, okay, possibly we can see price just shooting to the upside. So I had to also correlate that with other trades or with other pairs. So let's go to gold. You're gonna see the same thing right here, right? So this is not a trade that I took, that's why I have the X right here, but I also had to analyze any pair that is trading with the US dollar, right? So right here I saw nice left shoulder head, right shoulder neckline. I'm like, wow, this is just gonna push to the upside, right? So I just had to wait, and this is the same thing I also saw on USD CHF, right? So looking at USD CHF, this was it, right? I saw this nice breakout, I saw this pullback, this a nice flag pattern, and I was like, wow, this a pattern. If I should trade, what am I gonna do? I'm obviously gonna be looking for selling opportunities because I understand this pattern. So here I'm expecting the dollar to drop, right? So that was it. I just had to correlate that with pairs trading with the dollar just to see what the dollar is gonna do. That is why I had confidence in this one that it was gonna push to the upside, right, based on my technical analysis and not even the news, right? So this was my entry, and as you can see, price shot massively to the upside, right? So I wanted to squeeze as much as possible on this trade, because looking at this structure right here, the one that I showed you on the 1H time frame, let me go back to the 1H. Let me show you right here on the 1H time frame. When the news came through right here, this was news pushing price to the upside, right? We had this rising wedge, price came to this level, and then price was also doing the same thing. We had a double bottom right at this area. We had a break of the neckline, price retested, and then the news came through somewhere here. So this is the same thing that we had also on Euro USD on Wednesday, right? So the same thing. So my TP, obviously I was expecting a break of the high right here where price reversed. I was just expecting price to break above, right? So this was my TP level on Wednesday, right? But I knew that this will actually take maybe 2 days, right? Because this was on a daily time frame. So what was I expecting? I was expecting a break of this if price is gonna push to the upside, right? So getting in here, I had an overall TP at this level, right? But I just didn't want to hold my trades for 2 days. I just wanted to take this trade quickly and then just leave the market and come back tomorrow and see what price will do. So I had my TP at a reasonable resistance, right? So this was a support resistance. I just wanted to take my profit right here. When I saw the news, price just shot to the upside, we got here, TP hit, and I left the market, right? So this was it. On Thursday, we came back to the market, and then we saw this price just pushing to the upside gradually. This was the Asian session, and let me just go down to the 30 minutes. This is also a trade that I missed. I was supposed to take this, very simple trade. Impulse, price just corrected, we had a pullback, right? Entry would have just been at this level right here, right? But I missed this one, so I just had to wait for price to break above, have a pullback, and then we also get in. So going down to the 5 minutes time frame, this was another simple trade. Breakout, we had a nice correction to the downside, price broke above, we just got in right here, because remember, overall we are expecting price to hit this level based on how we spotted the market structure, how it repeats itself, right? So you can see, but we didn't even hold it straight to the TP level. This was enough, squeezed, and then we are done for the day. So as you can see, I mean, it was really amazing week, especially on Euro USD, just following the same thing, same system, same entry. Nothing new was done here, just repeating what the market structure is telling us right here, right? So when we got to this level, remember I told you, when we get to a resistance level or support level, you want to identify what price is doing, right? So right here, how did we get there? We got there impulsively. So is price gonna break above, or we gonna drop? I don't know. So I had to set a trap. This is a trap. This is what I mostly do, right? So I've placed this right here. If price should break above this and retest, this is where I want to get in and put my stop loss maybe at the lows or somewhere here. If it doesn't, then I'll look to do another thing, right? So you always have to think like this, right? You don't want to lead the market, you want to follow the market, right? So I even sent the same thing on AUD USD to the Telegram group right here, right? So this is the same thing that I sent this on the daily time frame right here. You can see we are creating higher highs and higher lows. Price took out this high, and after a high we expect a pullback. So this was the break of the high. This was a nice pullback. What I was expecting was price to break above and then push to the upside. So I had my trap right here. If price should break above this level, retest, this is where I'll enter. You can even see I have my alert right here, right? So crossing this, it will just alert me. I'll get into the trade, put my stop loss at the lowest level, and then continue. But as you can see, this trade was never activated. I never got in because price didn't do what I was expecting, yeah. So this is what you always have to understand whenever price gets into a specific level. So when price got here, we didn't get that breakout. Friday market broke to the downside, right? So I'm like, okay, wow, price didn't break to the upside, price just shot to the downside. So let's see what price is gonna do. This was an impulsive move, and this was a very, very simple trade. I don't think I even have to break it down, because it's the same thing I've been talking about on this channel: break and retest, the flag patterns and all of that. It's a simple break, retest, and then push to the downside on the 15 minutes. On the 5 minutes, it looks very clean right here. Break, entry, stop loss right here, TP, so this was it. Amazing trades, amazing week. Personally, I like to trade Euro USD because I have back tested Euro USD. I know the behavior of Euro USD. I'm very familiar with the structures. So whenever I get any trade on Euro USD and another pair, I'll personally like to take it on Euro USD because this is the pair that I'm used to, right? So the market is closed. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna analyze the market with my students. We're gonna set traps for the market going forward next week, just to see what the price will do or the market will do, or the opportunities that the market will give us as well. We will get ready for the market and we will execute once it falls into our trap. Yeah, so that's it, guys. I hope you learned something from this trade breakdown. If you are not in the Telegram group, make sure you join, because in there I do share a lot of these market breakdowns before even the trade happens, right? So if you are not there, make sure you join. The link will be down in the description, and also subscribe. Make sure you like this video. Wishing you all the best in your trading journey. Peace.